Hello everyone, Loremaster of Sotek, and I'm late. 12 hours late, roughly. I apologize that I have not been around all day. It's been really hot lately. We're caught in a pretty ugly heat wave at the moment. It's kind of the hottest part of the summer for us, and it's been pretty brutal, and I live in a state that is super stupid and tries relying on its own power grid, and our power grid can't handle winter or summer apparently, so they're doing rolling brownouts and a whole bunch of other stuff, so they're like shutting down power occasionally, and it's just loads of fun. But anyway, I'm here now, so let's go ahead and talk about the Druchii, or the Dark Elves, as their start positions have been released, and we are nearing the end of all of this start position focused goodness. So without further ado, let's hop into it. Up here in the Iron Foothills, we have Malekith in his home base of Nagaroth. Looks great. Awesome. Really happy Malekith's going to be there. He's going to be able to throw down with Grombrindal very early. Although I've been talking about a lot from Grombrindal's perspective, I do also like that as Malekith, we're going to be able to fight dwarfs very early on. Dark Elves getting to fight dwarfs, I think, is kind of a rare treat. It's not something you really got to do that much prior to this campaign. I mean, I guess back in Mortal Empires, you could go from like Albion and eventually make your way down to the dwarves in Bretonnia, or maybe if you're playing Malus Darkblade, you can make your way over to the World's Edge Mountains. But you know, you didn't really have a lot of great dwarf enemies as the Dark Elves, so being able to go up against your once bestie who's trying to claim vengeance on you for backstabbing him and being a giant douchebag is going to be a really good campaign, I think, for a Dark Elf, and will do nicely for a nice early rivalry, and will make for an excellent head-to-head campaign. I think one person playing Malekith and one person playing Grombrindal, just going head-to-head, you don't have a ton of space between the two of you, so it should be actually a lot of fun. But in any event, to the east of Malekith, we of course have the crone herself, Hellebron, who is starting in her usual haunt. She's still up in her base, so she hasn't moved at all. I think it's going to be a much better start position now that the entirety of, well, a significant portion of the Chaos Waste is on the map. You're going to be able to go north a pretty considerable distance in addition to going east as far as you want. You no longer have to kind of just immediately jump across the ocean and start bullying Norska, and of course you're still going to have your automatically summoned armies through whenever you do Death Knight, who are going to sail down to Ulthuan and cause a ruckus, which is, you know, it's a pretty good journey because you do have to go around Elithnar's province, the Broken Lands, I think, and make your way down the Forbidden Coast until you arrive at Nagaroth and start, you know, messing things up. But I think that is actually going to be a pretty good time. I've always really enjoyed Hellebron's campaign. I think it's a very fun campaign, so I'm excited to see if it's changed at all as far as like mechanics are concerned. One thing I actually am really hoping, and I'm aware this is going to sound bad, but you know, within the context of the game, I really hope when we get Chaos Dwarfs that they implement some sort of I really hope that we get access to the ability to exchange slaves, with the Chaos Dwarfs, because the slave system for the Dark Elves is, you know, it's an alright system. It's not a very engaging system. It's pretty boring, but you know, it lets you get a lot of money. But it would be nice if it could actually do something. That would be kind of cool. So it'd be nice if perhaps you could use it to negotiate with the Chaos Dwarfs once they arrive in the game. You could use it like part of diplomacy when it comes to them, or maybe, I don't know, I would just like to see it just do something, because right now it's pretty basic. You know, you can use it to, I think, you can use it to fund your rights, and you can use it to make money. And those aren't bad things, but, you know, it's a little basic. Anyway, moving on, we've got Morathi down in the ancient city of Quintex, which is one of those cities that I would love if there was more lore on it, but there just isn't. There's really not much to be spoken about there. Until someone tells me otherwise, I'm just going to assume it's a city of the fish people, and you can't stop me. unless you find a first-hand source, in which case let me know down in the comment section, and make sure to include the source page so I can look it up and read it. But I do not recall there being anything written about the ancient city of Quintex within my memory, but maybe I'm just stupid and have missed something. That is completely possible, because covering 30 years worth of writing is kind of hard, especially when a significant amount of it was included in monthly frickin' magazines that are nearly impossible to find these days, because they are no longer in print, and the series they were in is no longer in print, and Games Workshop is really cagey about those. But in any event, I think Morathi's campaign is going to be super fun. Obviously, she kind of has the fastest access to Ulthuan of the Dark Elf characters, because she's able to just run straight to the Bleak Coast and take off for Tirnok. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I will say, I really hope the Cult of Pleasure has evolved into its final form. The Cult of Pleasure is an actual faction from tabletop. The Cult of Pleasure, which is Morathi's faction, is not only a notable thing from the lore, but back in 6th edition, it was one of the sub-factions that was included in the Storm of Chaos, and it was Morathi made a bargain with many demons of Slaanesh, and so she had a bunch of Slaanesh demons in her army. And so she was able to use Slaanesh demons and, whoops, excuse me, didn't mean to hit y'all there. If I recall correctly, yeah, she even had a new unit that was called, I want to say they were called Anointed. I think they were Anointed of Slaanesh, or just called the Anointed, but they were basically Dark Elves that took Slaanesh demons into themselves and were kind of possessed by demons, but they did so willingly, so it made them really powerful. Those we probably won't see, but everything else I'd really like to see. You know, it'd be really cool to let Morathi be one of those mixed factions. So, you know, where Archon the Black's able to summon vampire count units, Alariel is able to summon tree spirits. Let Morathi summon Slaanesh demons. That would be hype. That would be really cool. Also, if Morathi spreads Slaanesh corruption instead of Chaos Undivided corruption, that would also be super hype. I would really love that, because it would make her and Nakari actually really good allies. I think that I would really like to see Morathi have a lot of diplomacy bonuses with Chaos factions. I don't really care what Chaos factions, like, it could be all Chaos factions, or they could make it where she's maybe just friendly with Slaaneshi factions. But I really think that her and Nakari should be really strong allies, because that would also add more goodies to Nakari's starting increase, because he could have Morathi as an early ally, because the two of them are kind of on the same page. So really hoping we're going to see some major changes for Morathi there. We'll have to wait and see. Moving further south, we've got Rakarth. So Rakarth, the Beast Lord of Karankar, has arrived in the Turtle Isles, which is a really good start position for him. I think that's going to work very nicely. So he is, of course, going to be a great menace to the Lizardmen. He's also the only character that starts in Western Lustria. So he's kind of got a massive amount of the continent to himself. The closest characters being, if he heads inland, he can eventually hit Itza, and then Tehinoan in the far south. But I think this is going to be an excellent start position for him. I think this is much better than Albion, because he's going to have lots of like big dinosaurs to get early on, and you're going to be able to fight against the Savage Orcs. You're going to be able to fight against the Lizardmen and the Skaven. So hopefully you'll have the opportunity to get a lot of really cool monsters. But of course, the really cool thing is that he's really close to most, if not all, of the sea lanes. So if he goes up to the Boiling Sea or the Sea of Squalls, there is a sea lane here that will actually take him to the Sea of Malus. So he could teleport across Nagaroth and end up very close to Karankar, which is his where he's actually from, and the city he used to race Lokhir Felhart for to confederate. Or there will also be sea lanes, I believe, down here-ish, or around here-ish, where you're able to enter them, and it takes you to the Jade Sea on the far side of the planet, in the distant east, where you are able to then start attacking Grand Cathay if you would wish. So Rakarth kind of has one of the best start positions in the game, in my opinion, just because there are so many different places he can go that he's going to be able to have a good time. Like, you're going to be able to play this campaign multiple times and have a lot of decision power as far as where do you want to go. You know, once you take over the Turtle Isles, you can invade Lustria. You could sail north until you arrive in Nagaroth proper. You could sail south and invade the Southern Wastes, the Southern Chaos Wastes. Or you could sail west and you could end up in Cathay and start terrorizing the distant east. Whatever you'd like to do. Especially once we get Ending Koresh in the game, and whatever form that ends up taking, you'll be able to have some really, really fun campaigns. Speaking of the Far East, we have Lokhir Felhard way up here. So he starts in Haishai, right next to, he's right at where the Dragon River dumps out into the Jade Sea. And he's also very, very close to Warhammer Korea, which of course is not playable at this time. The only thing we know about it is that it's where the dreaded Woe clan resides. Though presumably if it ever got added to the game, it would see some more development. But this is a amazing start position for Lokhir Felhard. He's known as a terror to the Far East. There is a story about Lokhir Felhard where he attacks Grand Cathay. He attacks one of their ports, and he does so much awful slaughter and torture to the inhabitants. Like, it's such a massacre that's so brutal that when the armies of the Dragon Emperor arrive, they don't even salvage the city. They just decide to raze it to the ground and burn everything because it was so bad. Like, it was so awful of a sight to witness. They were just like, nope, can't even salvage this. We have no desire to try and salvage this. Just burn it all. Just burn it to the ground. We don't want to, we cannot recover from this. Just burn it and salt the earth and let's get out of here. So Lokhir Felhard being a monstrous son of a bitch in the east is really, really good. Plus, I did see a Reddit post that there's going to be a sea lane somewhere in this ballpark. There's going to be a sea lane that allows you to get from around the eastern colonies to the Jade Sea. So it's going to allow you to, it's going to make it where you don't have to sail all the way around Endin Koresh. Just because you can't land in Endin Koresh, they are completely, you can't go there. They're fog of war off. So because of that, they're adding another sea lane so that you'll be able to just hop between the two. I don't remember if that was revealed in the sea lane images we've seen, but I did see a post about that on Reddit. So you will be able to terrorize the eastern colonies. So that's really cool. If you're playing with Lokhir Felhard, you can go to the Eastern Isles and you can fight the High Elves there, because we've learned that there is actually a High Elf faction that owns, apparently among the eastern colonies, there are 3 High Elf settlements. And among these 3 settlements are, I imagine it's probably like this one, and this one are probably the playable islands. But if you're Felhard, you can just head for a sea lane if you want with one of your Black Arks or whatever, teleport down here and start, killing some Asur. But this is a really, really awesome start position. Plus, it makes the start in Cathay just that much more exciting. Cathay is looking really, really fun. It's still relatively empty, but has a lot of really cool things established there. Personally, I love that there are Skaven and Dark Elves as the primary antagonists for Grand Cathay. Of course, you've got Nakai wandering around the south, but Nakai is honestly so far in the south that I feel like it's actually going to take him a hot minute to get to the other 4. Like, Nakai's kind of like outside playing by himself while all the other kids are indoors. So, I mean, he wanders, so I'm really, really looking forward to that. I think Lokhir Felhard is going to have an amazingly fun time, especially because, to my understanding, based on what I've been told, all of the rivers that you see whenever you see water that is this dark gray, right? Those rivers are sailable. So like a Black Ark can travel all the way up to near where Clan Eshin starts, or you could travel all the way up to where Zhao Ming starts, or you could travel up towards Hawkland. Hopefully we get more of these rivers that go inland. Like, I would personally really love to see the river Amixon in Lustria given the same treatment. But for Lokhir Flowheart, that is so important because he's so reliant on having that unique Black Ark, the Blessed Dread, which gives him a lot of really cool abilities and gives him a lot of really nice bonuses, that you'll be able to have it follow you almost all the way inland throughout basically the entirety of Cathay. I think the only part of Cathay you won't be able to reach is like the Great Wall, or the Great Bastion, and the like where Nangao is, or the Warpstone Desert. Well, no, you probably could reach parts of the Warpstone Desert, but like this little area you probably won't be able to reach very well. I will say, I hope the Dragon River, so this river here by the Red Waste, that river should not be sailable by anybody, because the Dragon River actually has a bunch of lore about how when the forces of chaos try to cross it, everyone who attempts to cross it dies, because the river is so deeply entrenched in death magic. And it's the Dragon Emperor pours a lot of his own power into the Dragon River to maintain its deadliness, essentially, that it has the ability to kill anyone that sails across it. So it should not be saleable. I think it should just, like, you shouldn't be able to sail across it, because if you did, you would die instantly, which would be which would be really painful. So they just shouldn't let you sail across it. It should basically just act as a hard border. That way, if someone wants to invade Cathay, they have to go around and go down to where Lokhir Flowheart is to come onto the beach near Hai Shai and then start invading, or, you know, one of these other lands further south. Like, I don't think you should be able to invade from the river itself. You should have to invade from the actual coastline, or sail up one of these rivers and work your way north. Because it'd be a little silly if you could sail up the river and just immediately lay siege to the Celestial Palace of the Dragon Emperor and Moon Empress. You know, that'd be a little weird. You should have to Wei Shai or Wei Jin should be, you know, fairly defendable. You should have to walk up to it, but not sail up to it. But anyway, moving on from that, we have the last of the new Dark Elf start positions, which is of course Malus Darkblade. And Malus Darkblade has head into the Northern Chaos Wastes, where he is actually in the Cold Mires, and he's going to be basically following the plot of his books. So you are essentially starting off where his story begins. I don't know if that's... I would say that's probably not the exact place his actual story saga begins, but you're at least starting off somewhere that's representative of where he first took on the spirit of Zarkan and became possessed by the demon that is such an incredible part of Malus Darkblade's story. And I love that, because like Malus Darkblade's whole campaign is supposed to revolve around letting you get little pieces and bits of his storyline through the Whispers of Zarkan. One of the big things is that the Whispers of Zarkan are supposed to offer you all these missions and everything where you're supposed to get unique rewards, and a lot of these unique rewards are supposed to be followers, banners, and items from Malus Darkblade's books, the entire series. So hopefully, I know something in Mortal Empires they did was work quite a bit on Malus's campaign to try and make it a lot more fun and better. I don't think I ever really got to play Malus Darkblade's improved campaign, but hopefully it's a good time, and they've continued to prove on it with Immortal Empires. But I'm really, really excited for him to start there. I think it's a great starting place for him. It allows you to really experience his story like you should, where you're up in the waste and you kind of have to fight in this hostile territory. I am curious if Zarkan, the demon inside you, is going to have any kind of interesting interplayability with the other demons in the far north. Like, since it's been confirmed that Zarkan is a keeper of secrets, so he's a greater demon of Slaanesh, presumably, maybe if Zarkan is in control, so if you're like maximum corrupted, maybe you'll get like maybe you'll spread Slaanesh corruption, you'll get bonuses with demons of Slaanesh. Maybe you'll be friendly with other kinds of demons. You know, you'll be able to negotiate with the forces of chaos and be allies with them, Whereas if Malus is all the way in control, maybe Malus has a lot of benefits with Dark Elves, and he's all about like improving your relations with the Dark Elves and stuff like that. But, you know, he's not as focused on the Chaos side. So, like, if you go full Zarkan, if you're, like, fully possessed, you get lots of combat benefits. You get lots of benefits to negotiating with other forces of chaos and their alliances. You get Slanesh goodies. But if you are fully in control, so if Malus Darkblade is fully in control, instead, he is, like, all about, like, maybe trade and economy and public order and technology speed. And he also gives you buffs to dealing with other Dark Elves, and is better about unaligned corruption, so like, you know, non-corruption. So if you want to be really good friends with Malekith and Hellebron, you should probably go not possessed Malus Darkblade, but if you want to be really big friends with Demon Prince Yuri or Norska and Nakari, you should probably go full possession with Zarkan. But overall, I'm extremely happy with the Dark Elves. I really don't have any critiques. I think they're excellent. Once again, Alithadar, I'm like, but just seeing him there when I really want to have that race between Rakarth and Lokhir Felheart, but maybe they'll have figured out some way to deal with that when the game goes live. In any event, I am very, very pleased with this. I honestly, like, if I had to pick a Dark Elf, I don't know who I would start first with. I think personally, you know what? I would do Malus first. I think the one that would call to me the most, where I'm like, ooh, like I really want to see how this campaign has changed. I want to see like the terrain. I want to see who all he's going to be fighting, what the factions are up there. I want to see how he interacts with them and how his mechanics have changed. I would probably pick Malus Darkblade, but a second for me would probably be Lokhir Felheart, because like who doesn't want to fight in Cathay now that we have all of it? But let me know what y'all think down below. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about the new Dark Elf start positions, and how you're feeling about their campaigns. Are you excited? Are there any that disappointed you? Is there anything you're worried about? Is there anything you think I didn't talk about that's really exciting? Let me know. In any event, I do apologize this came out so late. Things have just been a little crazy here today, but I will be up bright and early and bushy-tailed in the morning to talk about some vampire counts, because I am very, very eager to see what they've done with the vampires. I really want to see where Gorst is. I really want to see where they seem to have been implying that Manfred von Karstein is no longer home. So I want to see where Manfred went. I'm very, very interested to see everything. So thank you all again for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Take care of yourselves and stay cool out there.